Monday morning at like 8 o'clock in the morning. I took the day off today, so I decided that I would film some book videos today. I might have 3, at least 2. I'm going to do my January wrap-up, which is this one, and then I have a TBR and book haul. I might combine that one, depending on how long-winded I get, and hope that it doesn't shut me off. But in the month of January, let's see, 1, 2, I read 14. I thought I read 15, but I guess not. They were all pretty across the board. I didn't read anything fantastic other than rereads. So nothing new that was fantastic. But I do have one really rotten book that I did not care for, which is why I got cut off because I got long-winded on it. So I'm going to start and try to be briefer than I was. The first one I read, I've got Tassie over here. You can see her. Hi, Lulu. I call her Tassie Lou. Damn You Autocorrect. Jillian Madison compiled it. I've read this so many times I can't keep count, but it's just funny autocorrect mistakes in texts. 5 stars. Will always be 5 stars. As many times as I read it. And then we have Meaty by Samantha Irby. This one I gave 4 stars to. It's just a memoir of her life and her going through adulthood. It says chin hairs, depression, bad sex, failed relationships, inflammatory disease, and more. She has Crohn's disease, which I have a best friend that has Crohn's. So a lot of what she's writing about, I feel like I'm hearing her talk about and being relatable. She is probably an auto-buy author for me. I did also read We Are Never Meeting in Real Life last year and either gave it 4 or 5 stars. So if you want a good laugh, easy read, I definitely recommend that one. This is my stinker book, and I'm not going to rant about it as much as I did so I don't get cut off. But that would be Verity by Colleen Hoover. I know so many people love Colleen Hoover. I have not heard a bad thing about her. Could be that I picked a bad one. It was on the Kindle Unlimited because I'm doing the 99 cents for 3 months. She's not for me. The characters are very horrible people. The son, the young son in it, he is fine. He's a delight. He's cute. The basic premise is the wife in the novel apparently had a car accident. They killed her daughter and put her into a vegetative state. So the husband reaches out to another author and says, hey, I need some help finishing up her series. We need a ghostwriter. Would you be willing to do it for X amount of money? So she was like, no, not really. But he convinces her. And he's like, oh, well, since you're having problems with your apartment, how about you move into our house? That way you have access to her office and all of her manuscripts to get ideas on how to continue and finish the series. She's like, no, I really don't want to do that. That's kind of weird. But somehow she agrees, lives in the house, swears that she sees the vegetative wife who can't move or communicate in any capacity, sees her in the hall, like watching her, and the husband's like, no, you're just stressed or crazy, or you're not getting enough rest. She's not vegetative. Let's just go there. She's not. She's faking it the whole time because she is a horrible sociopathic human being. That in and of itself made me hate the book. But then you get to the sexy time scenes because you know it's going to happen in a Colleen Hoover book from what I've heard. The ghostwriter and the husband get it on. And the vegetative wife knows about it. And it's the romantic scenes is so juvenile written. It reminded me like the 50 Shades of, oh my God, could this be any cringier? Nobody talks like that. And if they do, love your heart. Colleen Hoover in real life is probably a delightful human being, but her books are not for me. If you like her, give it a go. Apparently it's not her standard romance novel. It's Girl on the Train and all those kinds of I was generous and gave it 2 stars. Moving on. Fat Girl Walking. Sex, Food, Love, and Being Comfortable in Your Skin, Every Inch of It by Brittany Gibbons. I'd had this one on ebook for a long, long time and just randomly pulled it up. I gave it 3 stars. It's just about fat acceptance, being overweight, relationships, getting married, having children. If you find it, it's good. It's fluff. Stories I'd Tell in Bars by Jen Lancaster. This one I only gave 2 stars for. I have loved all of her other nonfiction. I've not read her fiction and don't know that I will, because I like her voice as her own rather than the characters. So this one was 2 stars. I don't recommend it. Definitely go and read her others. The first 4, Bitter's New Black, Bright Lights, Big Ass, Such Pretty Fat, and Pretty in Plaid. Well, 5. We'll say My Fair Lazy. Those were like all really good. So if you can find them at a used bookstore or cheap or at your library and you want something that's going to make you laugh, definitely check out Jen Lancaster. This one I gave 4 stars. It's I've Got This Round, More Tales of Debauchery by Mamrie Hart. I did read her You Deserve a Drink. She is a YouTube star. And I think I gave her first one 4 stars as well, because she is a hoot. Like, I was reading stuff out loud to my husband, laughing and crying, but just stories, random stories of dating and life and friendship. One story stood out to me that made me laugh. Of when she was a kid, she always liked stuff that was beyond her age, and her mom would have to be like, no honey, that's for adults. But she was always enthralled with the champagne glass bathtubs. She always wanted one, or wanted to see one. So she found some couples resort in Pennsylvania that she had one of her best friends go with her to. And they got the champagne bathtub. And it was not but as magical as she thought, because the water was cold. But she was just like, so worth it. So if you find Mamrie Hart, yeah. Summer of Night by Dan Simmons. This one I saw on someone else's channel that had hauled it and said it was kind of a mix between Stephen King and Stranger Things. I didn't so much gravitate towards Stephen King because, unpopular opinion time, I think he's a crap author. Green Mile was the exception, but beyond that, he's not my bag. But this one, the whole Stranger Things, caught my attention. But it's school-aged friends, getting towards the summer. Their school is closing. They're going to tear it down and build a new one. And a child goes missing. One of the students goes missing. They hear screams that school day, and the principal comes in and says, they're just working on the furnace. It's no big deal. You're not going to work on a furnace of a building that you're getting ready to demolish. So something happens to Tubby. That was his nickname. And they go about, they're going to spend their summer figuring it out. Something creepy's going on. And there's like zombie and these lamprey-like creatures, like demons, that are involved. It's 601 pages, so you better be prepared to hunker down. It took me almost 3 weeks to finish it. It could have been at least 200 or 300 pages shorter, in my opinion. At least 200 pages shorter. I knocked it down to 3 stars for that fact, but it is good. So if you want something creepy and frankly gross at times, for sure, Summer of Night. We'll say I gave it 3.5. I wish that Goodreads let you do half stars. Dishing with the Kitchen Virgin by Susan Reinhardt. I gave this one 4 stars. Just little short chapters about different foods and what to cook on a date to impress your mate, or what to cook for a funeral, or what, just these different and funny stories about not being able to cook or not being a good cook. And I was reading some to my husband, and he said, you're a good cook. I don't know why you're reading that. I was like, you can always get ideas of recipes. So that one, and any physical books that I have, I pass on to my best friend. Like, there are very few that I actually keep. Then Damn You Autocorrect 2, that I've gone years without knowing existed. And I was so patiently waiting. I felt like Ralphie in A Christmas Story, going to the mailbox every day and going, skunked again, because it was never there. I didn't realize I had ordered it from Amazon from the UK, so that's why. But I lay in bed one night with just tears rolling down my face, laughing so hard at this. And my husband got a chuckle. So this one will be my annual reading of the both together. You can bet your tootin' that that's 5 stars. Coming down towards the end. Permission Slips, Every Woman's Guide to Giving Herself a Break by Sherri Shepherd. This one I gave 3 stars to. There were a lot of relatable being a woman moments of dating and fashion and all of this jazz. I felt like a lot of it was about her son. Rightly so. It's her book. It took away from what could have probably been 4 stars for me, but I did it on audiobook. So if you listen at like 1.8 or double speed like I do, it'll take you like 3 hours. This one was also audiobook, My American Duchess by Eloisa James. I saw this on the Naughty Librarian's channel. She got a copy of it. I looked for it at the library because it sounded good. It did make me snicker out loud. I only gave it 3 stars because of, I feel unfair about it, but it was because of the audiobook narrator doing the different masculine and feminine voices, and was not good at the masculine ones. And when it came to sexy times, it was just creepy. And the author's writing of sexy times was okay. Nobody at that time talked like that, and nobody now is going to talk like that when they're having sexy times. Just, yeah. But yeah, if you can separate the wheat from the chaff, it's a cute book. And it's a standalone, so you don't have to go into it thinking you have others to read. All American Murder, James Patterson and Alex Abramovich. This one I plowed through like quick, because James Patterson books are short chapters. I didn't know much of anything about the Aaron Hernandez case whatsoever. And you're reading it going, this is one miserable human being. Horrible, killing somebody, shooting somebody, and getting away with it, and then finally you get caught. And how he was awful as a prisoner, the things he would do. But whenever they did the autopsy on him after he committed suicide, they found that his brain was the worst degenerative, like the worst brain of anybody as young of a football player. So they're blaming that on his behavior. And if so, that's a sad, sad waste of a life, because he was, before all this, caring, warm. I mean, there were family problems, but messed up. So that one, 4 stars. I recommend it if you can find it. A Day in the Life of Marlon Bundo. It's just a little cute children's book about gay bunnies. That was 5 stars. It took me no time. This one, not really anything to talk about because it's a cookbook. The Loveless Cafe cookbook. If you've never heard of it, it is in Nashville, and they have fantastic food. They had recipes for their peach, blackberry, and strawberry preserves, which, when those fruits are in season, or maybe not, I am going to make them because I have been wanting biscuits and jelly. These two I'm just going to group in because I gave them both 3 stars. It's Top Secret 21 by Janet Ivanovich, and Tricky 22 by Janet Ivanovich. In the Stephanie Plum series, I had fallen off the wayside. I fell out of love with them years ago, and was like, oh, audiobooks, I can listen to them at double speed, get them done in like 3.5, 4 hours. And 21 was actually good, because it had Randy, the character Randy, in it, who is a little person. He and Lula together were a trip. So if you read those and have fallen off and not gotten to that point, it's good as a standalone. The 23 wasn't great, but I do have 24 and not 25 because it's on hold. 24 queued up to listen to. I may do that today. That is all I read in January. February, I'll do another video of that explaining what I am working on. I won't tell you what I've read because that way I have a February wrap-up video. But if you have read any of these and agree with me or disagree with me, tell me. If you like Colleen Hoover, tell me another book that was worth it that I could give her another chance. Because this one, Verity was a twist off of her normal books, is what I have seen. So, anything that's maybe not as juvenile written, let me know. But that is it. I'm going to cut this off. That way it doesn't do it for me. So I will probably stop this and upload it and do my next one. Bye for now.